Hey everyone, welcome to Boss Run. I'm your host, Billy Housh, and let's get talking about video games. First off, a bit of hardware news. I got an email in the middle of the night last night from Valve or Steam, and they said that I am eligible. I have 3 days to purchase a Steam controller. I finally got the Willy Wonka golden ticket to be able to buy a Steam controller. Now, for longtime listeners of the podcast, you guys all know that I was really excited about the Steam controller. I think last year, once it was announced, despite just purchasing a Vader 5 Pro, and this is the second Vader controller that I've been using. They're made by the company FlyDigi, and I've been enjoying them, especially for first-person shooters and whatnot. It's pretty much a Xbox style X input type of controller with they're like a special version of Hall effect sticks. They're not TMRs, but it's its own style, and they're tension adjustable. There's a little ring around each of the sticks that you can tighten them up. I have them tightened all the way, cranked. And it's all like clicky buttons and all the fun stuff. And you can control the length of the trigger buttons and stuff like that. But I was still excited about the Steam controller. And I'm a controller sicko. I'm a freak. I like having different controllers and stuff like that. So I was excited to see what Valve is cooking up, and it's going to be probably it is the pack-in controller with the Steam machine, if that ever comes out, and if that does well. But then time went on, right? A lot of time passed, and now it being the summer of 2025, and finally getting my chance to buy a Steam controller. I think I have until midnight tomorrow to make my decision. I thought it would be like a no-brainer when they were first announced, but now it's like I'm second thinking, like I have second thoughts about it. I'm like, do I really need another controller? Do I really need a controller that only works playing Steam games? Like, that's the one major caveat, especially since you guys all know, longtime listeners of the podcast all know that I've been drifting into playing more and more PC Game Pass games, just because the deal is so good, and there's been a lot of games that I wanted to play on it, and it'll probably continue with the PC Game Pass. So the Steam controller, without a bunch of weird workarounds, will not work with PC Game Pass games. Doesn't work with Xbox games on your PC. It doesn't work with, I'm assuming it doesn't work with GOG games either, or Epic launcher games, just Steam games, because it is the Steam controller, which is kind of weird. It's just locked to that one launcher or that one ecosystem. But I mean, I buy a lot of games on Steam, so it's fine. Do I really need another controller? It is a cool controller to tinker with. It will have most likely a lot of third-party support. So if you want to, not just like third-party as in hardware, is getting like different parts for it to mess around, maybe like customize the colors or whatever the heck you want to do with it, because it seems to be very straightforward of opening it up and stuff like that and modifying it. Also, like software customization. People have already been making custom profiles for controls for various games that typically out of the box don't use the controller. So they have been making those custom profiles for the Steam Deck. So now those profiles work with the Steam controller. So it kind of opens up a bunch of stuff. Also, if you like using the controllers for playing with like gyroscopic movement and stuff like that, that's there. And apparently these controllers do it well with that. So like as like a curiosity or something to tinker with, or for a collector, I think it's still like a good idea. The price is kind of steep though. Once you get the pricing, and like when you compare it to other pro controllers made by first parties, like when you compare it to like the DualSense Edge, which is like $250-$280 Canadian, or the Xbox Elite Series 2, which I think there's a new one even like on the ride, like coming out soon, which is also like $250 or $200. It's like, okay, Steam controller is $149 Canadian. Yeah, and these are all Canadian prices I'm talking in. Cool. Yeah. I mean, $149, sure, it's cheaper because it doesn't come with like a fancy case or all this stuff, extra crap that it does, but I don't use any of that stuff. And like the Switch 2 Pro controller is $100. But I'm playing on the PC and it's not a console. So it opens up to like the whole point of like playing on the PC is like you have a wide selection of manufacturers making crap for it. And I've talked about this a lot about like the Chinese market of like Chinese pro controllers that just blow the first party controllers out of the water. Yeah. Like, I don't know, like my Vader 5 Pro, I paid like, I think $60 Canadian, and it checked off all the boxes of everything I needed in a controller. Sure, it doesn't have those. So the whole thing about the Steam controllers has these two like track pads that mimic mice, and then you can like program whatever you want to them. Sure, that kind of stuff that's different. The Chinese market doesn't have those yet, but still, like a pro controller that blows away a $250 controller I'm able to buy for $60. A Steam controller for $150 Canadian, I'm sure, like with, what is that with tax? $160, $170. I don't know. Like, is that a wise decision? Probably not. Probably not a wise financial decision since I have a lot of controllers. But curiosity killed the cat, the Schrodinger's cat, which we'll get into later in this episode. So maybe I'll end up with one. We'll see. Tune in next time to see if I still pick up a Steam controller. But like, damn, man, $150, a lot of that can go to the millions and millions of billions of games that are coming out in the fall. So we talked about this, like all these press conferences went by, and pretty much every single video game is coming out in September and October to stay the hell away from Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out November 19th. So I have a massive wish list of games that I want to buy and play. God knows when I'll have time to even play them. So it doesn't even make sense to buy them all at once, because I might as well just wait for, once you're done a game, buy the next game. So then it's probably might be cheaper. But, you know, we're crazy here. So, yeah, there's a shit ton of games. I want to go through a quick recap of all the games. Oh, wait, before I do that, I forgot to talk about last time we met, the Nintendo Direct happened that was rumored. And the big announcements for that, or I guess the biggest announcement out of that, at least for me, well, there is a new like Wii Sports Resort kind of game coming out. And I mean, I bought that for the Switch 2. For the first Switch 1 had a game like that. I played it once and I stopped playing it. There's a new one coming out. It's got like table tennis, it's got ping pong in it. It's got a bunch of stuff in it. Looks good, but honestly, I've been like really, just like the Steam controller, it's like really soul searching of like, do I really want to keep getting this junk that I play once? Do I really want to do this? So like, yeah, it would be cool. I'll probably fire it up once and like play ping pong. That's why like I avoided Star Fox. Star Fox, thank God they gave me a demo. the remake, the third remake of Star Fox 64. The demo came out. I think it was announced at the Direct. And this is the reason why I believe a lot of the other big titles that are supposed to come out this summer and holiday season, the dates and the pre-orders did not go live, because I have a feeling that Nintendo really wants to like get X amount of sales and pre-orders for Star Fox, and I think they have not gotten that yet. That's why they pushed out the demo. The demo was great. I mean, it looked really good. Graphics were good, but it was still just Star Fox, right? It's like a rail shooter. And after just playing through the demo, I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good for it. I don't need to play this. But let me I think there's one game I'm missing about the Nintendo Direct. So they had a bunch of remakes and stuff. That was like the theme. That's the theme for a while now. But the big stuff from the first party the one game that I was waiting for a date for, because they said that there's going to be a network test in the summer, but they didn't say when this game's coming out, is a game made by From Software. People make Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and like Elden Ring. And that's Dusk Bloods. So they just announced during that Direct that there will be like a multiplayer test of that game sometime this summer, but they didn't announce any date or put out any pre-orders, which falls in line with, this is my theory, that they still need people to focus on Star Fox that's coming out the end of this month, I believe. There was a bunch of like all the Xenoblade games. They're getting like a Switch 2 upgrade. I haven't played any of them. I know that's like a big series for Nintendo RPGs. It's like Nintendo's Final Fantasy almost. And I'm assuming all these remakes were made for the Switch 2 because they're probably working on a new one that's going to be coming out. Another big one was a Kingdom Hearts game, which I've never touched those games or been interested in, but that's coming out. And the big last teaser that was shown was what most of the leaks were pointing at was the Ocarina of Time remake. So they said there's Ocarina of Time remake of it coming out by the end of 2026. So no date, no release date, no pre-orders, nothing like that. They showed a tiny bit of it, and it looked like it was like high level realism types of graphics. Like it wasn't stylistic. It was trying to be realism. Like it showed Link waking up in the Deku Village area, and he looked like a little like dwarven child, and it was kind of realistic graphics. So out of all that stuff, I'm interested in Dusk Bloods, and of all the nostalgia bait stuff, especially from the 64 era, Ocarina of Time would be one that I would be curious about, especially seeing the realistic graphics. Like it looked like a complete remake, not just like, let's upscale the graphics or whatever, get it running on modern system. It looked like a total remake. So I'd probably take the bait for Ocarina of Time remaster. So those are two Nintendo games that I might actually buy this summer. That's why it's like pump the brakes on Star Fox and the Wii Sports games, because I'd rather allocate those funds towards these two that I'll probably actually play longer than 2 hours or what have you. Besides that, let me just go through my pre-orders. Like Wolverine was a lockdown for me. I definitely I did pre-order Wolverine, a physical copy of it. So that's like a September game. Definitely getting that. There's not too many PlayStation exclusives, and potentially that's probably the last. That's the last PlayStation physical copy I'll probably buy this year. I forget that Grand Theft Auto 6, I'm buying that. That's going to be this year as well. And that's going to be on PlayStation. So I just need to finish Wolverine before November on my PlayStation and then get GTA 6. GTA 6, probably going to get it digitally. I'm thinking digitally, unless there's like some special weird physical copy, but it would just make sense to get it digital because it's probably going to be hanging around for a couple of generations. And then the games that are on my Steam wish list, which I did not actually purchase, I just have them on my wish list because I will try to wait until they potentially go on review embargoes, hopefully before the release date, or whenever like there's like Steam games you can get deep discounts like using third-party websites like Fanatical or Green Man Gaming, no affiliation. But the ones I want in September, there is like 3 games that are coming out basically around the same like 24 hours, which is terrible. So there's going to be on the 24th, and the 25th of September. There's Silent Hill Townfall, which a lower price game. I think it's probably shorter game. That's the new Silent Hill game where you're in Scotland. The sequel to Control Resonant, which has been a lot of people during Summer Games Fest, journalists had hands-on with it, and they said it feels really good. It's really plays well. It's competent. It's ready to go. That's coming out, September 24th, same day as Silent Hill. And then the day after that is Onimusha Way of the Sword. This game, I spoke of this, I believe, before. It was not on my radar. It's like Capcom's last game, I think, this year. And they released a demo, and the demo was absolutely like excellent. Blew me away. I played it on my PC, blew me away. I want to buy this game. Luckily, there are already cheap keys that you can pre-order on Fanatical. Yeah, I definitely want that game. Then we go into October. Star Wars Galactic Racer, another game that I would never want to buy, but then the more I watched trailers of it, the more and read about it, the more I do want to get this game. So Star Wars Galactic Racer. I do not like Star Wars. I'm not a huge fan of it, but this is like a pod racing game, and it's made by the developers who made the Burnout series of games. And it just like seeing the footage from the game, like they show actual gameplay and it looks fun. So that's definitely on my radar. I'm a big sucker. So Modern Warfare 4, Call of Duty, every year, even though I like to complain about it, every year I end up buying the game. So the trailer looked really good for it. I mean, there's going to be like another beta, obviously, to test the online play. This Modern Warfare, similar to, I think it was Modern Warfare 2 Reboot. If you pre-order the game, they'll let you play the campaign before the release, which is great. You can just get that out of the way. That comes out October 23rd. If I purchase the game, I will be purchasing on Steam because I have like over $70 worth of COD points stuck in the Steam versions of Call of Duty. So like I can't leave that stuff. Plus like my loyalty, I have a loyalty discount through Steam for Call of Duty just on that platform. I probably have it on my PlayStation as well, but looks like I'll probably get it on Steam. And then October 28th is Phantom Blade Zero. So another hack and slash kind of game from like a dark fantasy hack and slash action game from a Chinese studio. So that one I was looking forward to for a while too. So that's a crap ton of games. What was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you have Grand Theft Auto. And then there's like 2 Zelda games. How am I even going to have time to play these games is the question. And then I think like straight up into like January. So after like I would have to crush through these games throughout the holidays. And then in January is Stranger Than Heaven. the new Yakuza game. That game I'll probably just play on Game Pass. Probably just play it on Game Pass, save some money there. And I think in March I forget when the third Final Fantasy VII game comes out. It's called Revelation, I believe. That one will be the next, after Wolverine, that's the next physical PlayStation 5 game that I'll buy. And that's that. So it's the quiet before the storm, right, folks? Like there's not much big games until September. So this is the time that if you want to go outside and touch some grass, this is probably it. For me, at least. Games that I tried my best. I resisted. I was in 2 weak spots that I was about to get the 007 game, even though I'm not that interested in it, but I was close to getting it because it's like the only big AAA blockbuster game that's going to be out until September. I'm like, oh man, I don't need this. So I passed on that. I haven't played Lost Odyssey in a while. That was the game I was streaming on Twitch, which I probably should check in since it's been a few. Maybe I can actually finish this dungeon I'm stuck at. But what I've been doing is playing a bunch of demos for Steam games. One thing I like about Steam or developers that use Steam, they seem to drop a lot of demos during the summer because they know all the hardcore gamers like me are running out of like AAA like experiences. So now they're looking for just smaller stuff. So last week I played through 2 demos. One demo, because the game was out, I actually ended up buying the full game and I finished it like an hour or 2 from this recording. So I want to talk about those. The first game I played, just a demo for, because the game's not out, but the game is supposed to be out by the end of this year, is called About Fishing. So About Fishing is at its core a fishing game. The developer of this game, and it is like primarily one person developing the game. I think he has help maybe from 2 other people for maybe like music and some other assets, but it's one guy making this game. The game he made before was called Arctic Eggs. I didn't play that game, but I watched some videos of that game. I was almost close to buying that game. Anyways, I played through this whole entire demo on the Steam Deck, and I was able to complete the whole game on the Steam Deck, even though talking to the developer on the Discord, the guy never even tested it on the Steam Deck because he doesn't have one. He just like last minute implemented controller support, and he was really happy that it worked well enough that I could play through the game to the end. And I did. The developer himself says that this game, he was inspired by Sega Bass Fishing and Shenmue. So that was 2 big white flags for me to play the game. White flags, green flags. Anyways, blew me away. Like such a vibe. The game is like, I wouldn't say it's so much like Shenmue as it's like Twin Peaks. It's like Twin Peaks, the fishing game, is what I would describe it as. So you play this game you start off playing this game as this girl who later turns into a woman. Like there's a period of time that passes. I think it's like the prologue or the tutorial you play as a girl. As a young girl. And yeah, it's a fishing game. You first play the game learning how to fish from your father, I think, who's just like sitting on a beach on this like hazy, weird looking, dirty beach, smoking some cigarettes, having a beer, and like eating some curly fries. And you have to catch fish And the fishing mechanics is very similar to Sega Bass Fishing. If you ever played, like, it's arcade kind of style fishing. So it's not too challenging. It's pretty fun. And there's kind of like a true crime murder mystery that ties the whole fishing mechanics together, which is pretty wild. And yeah, it is a wild game. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but there's like a demo that I ended up playing like 3 hours, I believe, of the demo. And I encourage people to try it. If you like fishing games, if you like weird games. I forgot to say the aesthetic of the game, the graphics are like PlayStation 1 style graphics, that era. So like late 90s 3D graphics. But yeah, later on, I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but later on in the game, as you're older, you wake up in your apartment and then you go to there's like a Japanese convenience store, which is wild. This is a really weird game because you don't know where exactly you are, like where this place is. It's like a jumble of different, it's almost like a dream state. And in there you can sell your fish that you catch and buy like better gear, better tackle, better gear to catch more fish. And you catch fish, you build gear, and then you can get the fish that you catch. Instead of selling them, you can attach them to the hook and throw them back in, and then you have control over the fish. So then you can solve puzzles using the fish. So for example, if you need to get an item out of the water that you find, you can like control the fish to wrap the line around an item. For example, if there's like these rocks that are covering a doorway or something like that, the fish can like wrap the line around the rocks and then like pull the rocks away to open up that doorway, and then have the fish go through that. So it's got this like really wild other layer to it, just as the story outside of just like a chill fishing game has like a deeper layer of story to it as well. It's really well done. Really good vibe to it. Really cool game. So I definitely recommend trying out the demo to About Fishing, and I'm looking forward to playing the full version of that game. The dev said that the full game is going to be only $5, but with like a $30 DLC where you can just like keep fishing and collecting fish to fill up this like museum similar to Animal Crossing. I don't know if he was like joking, because that's really weird pricing, but either way, I'm probably going to check out this game once it comes out. So About Fishing, highly recommend. Just try the demo. It's free. It's on Steam. It's a Steam only game. But yeah, it was originally made to use mouse controls to like cast the fishing rod with your mouse. But I played fine with twin sticks. I thought the controller support was fine. So I was able to play it on the Steam Deck. Another game on the Steam that I played on the Steam Deck, first I played the demo, and then the demo completely sold me and I ended up purchasing the game. It's called Schrodinger's Call. Now, this game is both on Steam, but it's also available on the Switch 2, I believe. I don't know if it's on Switch 1, but it's definitely on Switch 2. So this game, if you can call it a game, I think it's considered a visual novel genre. Okay, so visual novel. And this was the first visual novel I ever played. I heard that this is a thing, like this is definitely a thing in Japan. Japanese people play visual novels, and I think they've existed for a while in Japan, like since maybe like the early 90s or late 80s. on like those weird Japanese PC-88 or NEC computers that they have there. Visual novels are basically, you could say it's a cross between a manga and anime. So like it's a story told with obviously like drawn visuals, but some of the visuals do move or it's interactive with music and like funky text and stuff like that. So it's just like a very interesting presentation. Some of them have like a bit of a choose your own adventure kind of like arc to them, but most of them like they give you an illusion of choice, but it always leads to the same kind of pathway or same ending. Anyways, this game, Schrodinger's Call, which obviously it is inspired by Schrodinger's cat. If you know of that concept, I know a little bit about it. It's like, I think it's something to do with like quantum entanglement or quantum physics or something. Basically the experiment, Schrodinger's cat, the hypothetical experiment was that, if you put a cat in a box with like I think it was like a nuclear isotope, something that is 50% whether it would kill the cat or not, and you don't open the box, in that case, that cat can be seen as both dead and alive until you open the box to see what happened. It's definitely inspired by that because of the themes and the fact that there is a black cat, a talking black cat in the game that is basically your guide. And even like the loading icon in the corner of the screen is like a drawing of a cat that is like half skull, half cat. So it's definitely based off of that concept. So in this game, you play a girl in this room that just has a telephone, like an old antique rotary telephone, a talking black cat called Hamlet, and a diary, a notebook to write stuff in. And Hamlet, the cat, tells you that you are the world's final confidant, and the world has basically ended or will end in 21 nanoseconds because the Earth has fallen into, the moon has fallen into the Earth, has hit the Earth, and everyone is dead. But you pick up the phone and you can talk to various spirits, maybe people, spirits in limbo, because they were caught talking on the phone and dying, talking on the phone with burdens and regrets. So their souls are still stuck in limbo and they were not able to properly die and move on. So that's similar to a lot of like, I believe Buddhism and like a lot of that is the theme in like Silent Hill games, right? The Tibetan Book of the Dead and like Silent Hill is almost like games about people stuck in purgatory and trying to work their way out, trying to resolve these things that put them into a cycle of thought that has them stuck there. So this is similar to that, except you call up these different people and they have like they're still trying to remember who they are or what they did on Earth and stuff like that. You have to listen to them and ask them questions, almost like it's almost like you're like a social worker and a detective and a doctor. Ask them these different questions to help them understand who they are and what is that problem that they're stuck up on. Why are they stuck in purgatory? What was not resolved in their life in those final moments that they were worrying about in that thought loop that they weren't able to just like die and pass on. So like, as you go through this stuff, keywords and phrases, and you take notes of them, and so that you know what to ask them later on. There's second party people for each case, that you can call them and get more information about the situation to try to solve it. And also, as you go through, I believe that there's 4 different souls that essentially you help ascend. Their burdens and regrets are similar to your characters, because your character is also trying to figure out who they are and what their burden and regrets are, so that they can then also ascend and die. So it's pretty wild and crazy idea for a video game, for probably not that crazy for like a manga or anime, right? But like it was playing the demo just hooked me immediately. And everything is like drawn, right? It's like kind of like anime drawn, but it's like very much this like, I don't know, this like Victorian Baroque kind of style of drawing, with like also these like weird psychedelic kind of effects that are used. Really eerie and beautiful music. And the characters, the people that you talk to, the souls, because you're playing like a young girl, she imagines them all as animals that look like Aesop fable kind of animals. Or like the Robin Hood, Disney's Robin Hood kind of animals. Because that's just how she's imagining them, but they're not. They're humans, because you can't see them. You're talking on the phone. Also, it's a game. It's a Japanese game, but the translation and stuff is really well done. Like it's well written. But it uses like that weirdly weird. Like it's not spoken, like they don't have voice actors, but they use that like like the way they generate these sounds. It almost sounds like it's voice samples played in reverse. And that's another thing that reminds me of like Twin Peaks, of like when they're in that dream state in was it called the Black Lodge or the Red Lodge? I forget what it was in Twin Peaks, where everyone's talking backwards because it's a dream state. So that's like the style. Like it's really eerie. It sounds like you're talking to ghosts over a phone. It's pretty creepy, but because they're anamorphic animals or whatever, it is like they're well drawn and they kind of look nice, and like it's not that creepy. It's not that scary, but it is still scary. It is creepy. And it makes me think of like, usually whenever there's games that like are like Japanese about the end of the world and stuff like that, it makes me think of like, are these things that people would think about like Hiroshima, Nagasaki, like all those souls like suddenly like killed and people stuck. And like, there's a lot of like ghost stories and stuff from Japan where ghosts are spirits with unfinished business, or people who die who don't know if they don't know that they're dead, so they can't move on. So they haunt the earth. So it's a lot of those kind of vibes in the game. It's just really, really fascinating. Not giving away too much about the ending, but also the main story of the character that you play of. It reminded me a lot about that Ingmar Bergman film Persona. So not the video game Persona, but the film, the black and white film Persona. So a lot of that stuff is also in this game. But yeah, I ended up playing, I bought the game, I played through the game. It took me like 8.5 hours, I think, to finish. So I played like throughout the week I was playing the game, but I finished it just today. I wanted to complete it today in time for this. And yeah, like it's cool. Like if you're ever into like a visual novel where it's like interactive storytelling, this was some pretty unique stuff, pretty good stuff. It was pretty sad, very sad. But at the end, it kind of gives you a hopeful feeling. So yeah, Schrodinger's Call is the name of the game. Available on Steam to play on your computer or computer handheld devices. And also, I believe, Switch 2. It might be on Switch 1 as well. I don't know. Like, I'm sure the game would run on a Switch 1. Yeah. Yeah, you can play it on the Switch 1. Yeah. If you got a regular ass Switch, it'll run on that. I knew it would. Because it did not look very demanding as a game. Because it's essentially just like a visual novel. But yeah, that was the first visual novel I've played, and I would be interested in playing more if they are at that same caliber. It's got a 5 out of 5, overwhelmingly positive Steam score. But yeah, good stuff. It was a very good game. At the very least, these two games, check out the demos. Demos are free. If you might not like it, that'd save you some money, right? I really appreciate developers that put out demos. I hope it becomes like a more common thing. The other two demos that came out very, very recently, I think two of them came out today. There's two classic styled shooter games that I'm probably going to check out after this recording. One is for an old 90s first-person shooter called Sin. I remember playing the demo off of a PC Gamer disc of Sin and liking it. It was just like a chunky, gory kind of shooter. I think it runs off of I think it was the Quake 3 engine. I'm pretty sure. But Night Dive Studios, famous studio for doing remakes, remasters, I would say, not remakes, put out Sin Reloaded. So I'm going to try out the demo, especially see if they run. A lot of these games I like to see if they run on my Steam Deck because they're like, I'd rather play them all on my Steam Deck. And then another game that is similar to these boomer shooters, but not an actual boomer shooter. That was the sound of the trailer. Came out called Sprawl Zero. That's a game I want to check out. I don't even know who this developer is. Maith. Demo's out. The game is not out. Both those games aren't out. But I think there's a bunch of Steam festivals coming out, so everyone's putting out their demos. And yeah, it's an action FPS shooter. I think it's got bullet time in it, but it's a single player game. It's a single player experience, and it has full controller support. So that's pretty sweet. So yeah, those are other games I'm going to try. So yeah, this summer, instead of spending money, just play some demos and get excited about something of a smaller scale. Support your indie developers and play these games that they have the luxury, because they're usually made by one or two people. They have the luxury to take more chances than a AAA title that has to play it safe, because they're dealing with shareholders and massive investments and stuff like that. And it's just a refreshing change of pace. I still play Call of Duty every year, right? I still very much mainstream, not even gamer. That's just mainstream pop culture. Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto. I still love those games. I love those games. Give me just I'm a sucker for a big budget polished showcase spectacle. Give me that. But also some of these like weird little indie games, it's like films. Sometimes you can find these jewels that are just so different, and they end up, because they can take a chance and do something so different, they end up inspiring the big guys, right? And then those concepts become mainstream. These are the avant-garde. Those avant-garde then can become the consecrated avant-garde. And then over time they become the rear guard. And now I'm teaching my popular culture class to you guys. Okay. We're just going to leave it at that. We'll see what I come up with next week. So you guys stay tuned of whether or not Billy orders a Steam controller or not next week. And does he crumble? Does he actually play the games that he has, his backlog, or he ends up buying more slop? Tune in next time to Boss Run. Take it easy, guys.